Okay, so I always start these by asking the same question. How many of my typing sessions have you seen before?
Uh, I've watched a few for sure. Um, Not all of them, but you know, at least probably a dozen.
That's quite a few. Okay, cool. So
Yeah,
can you do the SI relate insignificant details from yesterday?
yeah. So yesterday, woke up. I was running a little late. Um, but woke up, got ready. Um, went to went to work. What was going on yesterday? Um, Crap. Um, I'm trying to remember exactly what we did. Oh, I got the van to go pick up hazmat for some stuff that we needed. Brought it back. Had the my guys bring stuff in. Um, Delivered that, and then yeah, did a random couple of things, and then it was
Did you
then
go?
sent it home. Then I had to go. Um, I was running a little late, but I had to go home to finish packing the last few things I had. Um, then I got dressed, got in my truck, went down the road about 45 minutes away. Got my got there late, but I did my RV inspection and then did all the paperwork with that. And that took about till 6 o'clock, and then I drove back home. And then yeah, then I started the RV moving process.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you are pretty busy.
Yeah. Well, right now me and my wife are separating, and yesterday was the pick up the RV process for doing that because rent out here is so expensive. It's cheaper to buy a new truck and a new RV. So that's what I did.
Where are you living? If you don't mind my asking.
No, not at all. It's Oak Harbor, which is um, on Whidbey Island, which is just north of Seattle.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm in the Navy. This is a naval air station that I live in. I'm actually on the base right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
all right. So, can you tell me about what kind of media you consume when you're not learning anything from it?
Mm, I like watching streamers about things like I want to. I'm kind of curious to hear about their opinion, um, to see if it's something I might want to try or do, or if it gives me new ideas for games. Yeah, I like watch a lot of streamers. I know you know about Dungeons and Dragons, but there's the um, Critical Role. I like to watch them. They're funny. People playing Magic the Gathering. I play that.
I've played that. I
Um,
used to play it.
yeah, yeah. I It's something I kind of got away from, but I was really into, and I'm getting back into. Um, I watch various streaming channels about that. Um,
Okay. Any
yeah.
kind of movies or TV shows that are like dramas or comedies that you could talk about that you particularly enjoy or don't like?
Um, I mean, pretty much the reality shows I always hate. Except for like Jackass, if you can consider that reality. And I loved the only reality show I really liked was the Osbournes because watching Ozzy Osbourne like exist is hilarious.
Yeah, he's just such a train wreck, huh?
Yeah, like yeah, he's just
Wow.
completely, yeah, and that's really it. Yeah,
Is he still alive?
yeah, I think so. I think I
Really?
would have if he died. Like
I
that
think
would
I
have
would
been
have heard that too. Yeah.
the Prince of Darkness, you know. And then but I really like House.
Okay. I've never
You
seen
know,
it.
it's really good. It's formulaic and it's like the same kind of thing over every episode where it's like they don't know what's going on. They think it's this, and then they whatever, and then House has a slight of intuitive leap thing or whatever. Is it epiphany, and he kind of figures out what it is, and it's something like so crazy, like, uh, and it just shows how much of a genius he is. But and that part's kind of like okay, whatever. But he's such an asshole, and he's so like sarcastic and childish. That's what makes me like it. Is the social interactions between the characters? They're really funny.
I'll have to
Yeah,
check it out at some point. I'm
yeah, it's
having
really good.
my own issues with doctors right now, so I'm getting a little frustrated with the medical profession at the moment.
Oh, you might like him because he like breaks all the rules and does whatever the fuck he wants. He just
Unfortunately, it seems like all doctors do whatever the fuck they want.
oh well, he solves the problem.
That's the important part, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Um, so I like House is good. You said just movies in general
Yeah.
or TV shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Lord of the Rings is my shit. Um, I like I like the Marvel movies for the most part. They're entertaining. Um,
Can you think of a
like
movie that you started and you quit watching because you thought it was so shitty, and why?
yeah, The Last Airbender.
Yeah, that was terrible. I watched the
I
whole thing. It was terrible all the way through.
Yeah, so I watched the TV series because it was awesome, and then I saw it was coming out in theaters. I went to the midnight showing by
Oh,
myself.
very disappointed you must have been.
I was I was maybe halfway through it, and I was like, I got up in the theaters. I was like, fuck this, and I walked out.
It was terrible.
It was
I
really bad.
I was surprised at how terrible it was. I'd forgotten about that movie. It was so terrible that I'd even forgotten about it.
Yeah, M Night Shyamalan. Like I like his stuff for the most part. Some of it's a little hokey, but I like where he's going. It's kind of folklorish and like it's subtle, like magical stuff. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
like almost believable. Because it's not like superheroes and capes, like Unbreakable, and then Glass, and then
Signs
that whole
was good.
series. Huh?
Signs was good.
Science was good. The Village, it's kind of controversial. Most people hate it, but it was a cool twist. His thing is always like a twist.
Right.
When he gets it right, it's good. But subverting expectations just to subvert expectations is kind of just dumb. It's it has to be done right, and when he does it right, it's good. Um,
Okay, so let me ask you this question. Are you somebody who knows first, acts first, reacts first, or decides first?
yeah, that's you talk about like the knowing versus like learn types, and that's I'm not exactly sure. Um,
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Are you more likely to say, I should have thought longer, but I acted, or I should have acted, but I thought too long?
like I can think of times where I've not specific times, but I feel like I've done both. I am pretty impatient, but I feel like I can make pretty snap reactions because I kind of generally kind of know where things are going, and I can tell, base. I don't know why. Just I can see like good opportunities when I see them. So I don't
Okay.
know if it's okay. Like I don't know. Like with a lot of like decisions, and they can be major or they can be like you know whatever about a hobby or something I like. And there'll be things like if it's not exactly what I'm looking for, and I don't know exactly what I'm looking for, but if it's not that, and I can just tell, then I kind of won't make the decision. But as soon as I see the thing, like, oh, that's what it is, what I'm looking for, that I'm looking for, and then I'll just jump on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you decide to join the Navy?
Had 2 kids and needed a not dead end job,
Right.
and then
Do you get seasick?
I haven't been at sea more than a month.
When you were at sea, did you get seasick?
No, one of our it's actually that reminded me of the thing. We were at sea. One of the like engines went out, or one of the what are they called? The
Boat motors.
one of the it's the nuclear part. It went out, so we were only going at like half power, so we were going really slow, and we were in the middle of a storm. And I remember my supervisor, she got really sick, and there was when it would lurch real hard, I'd be like, ooh, but in general, no. I think I spent more time laughing at her about how sick she was than feeling sick.
I see.
Yeah.
My dad was in the Navy, but he got seasick.
Yeah. No, a lot of people do, from what I hear. I'm expeditionary, so we go to Air Force bases and stay in hotels.
That sounds like a good gig.
And we get paid for it. We get per diem. So not only do we not have to go to the boat and not eat the food on the boat, we get to, go travel cool places, and we can stay in hotels, we get Wi-Fi, and we can drink.
That's great.
Yeah, win-win.
Go Navy. Whenever there's the Army Navy game, my dad always roots for Army because he's in the Army too.
Oh, he's in both?
He was in both. After he left the Navy, he switched branches because he got out of the Navy because he was so seasick.
Oh, shit, okay.
And
Yeah.
This is a long time ago. He was back at the end of Korea. He was in the Navy, and then a little bit after that, he was in the Army. And then the traveling band that played in Europe, in like France and stuff, was like a holdover from post World War II shit.
Yeah. And I joined the Navy specifically because my parents were in the Army, but my grandpa was in the Navy, retired lieutenant commander, and he just loved it. He was actually the assistant maintenance officer at Top Gun when it was in Miramar, and so he loves everything Top Gun and everything. And he was like my main role model, male role model growing up. He just passed last year, and he was also my re-enlisting officer for both my re-enlistments, and then his dad was also in the Navy. So there's a tradition in the Navy.
And I just went on the trolley tour of San Diego that shows you that bar that they filmed that scene from Top Gun at.
Oh, no shit. Yeah, when he pulls up on the motorcycle.
Yeah, and there's like I think he and the other guy getting like a showdown in the bar or something.
Yeah, fucking Iceman or whatever.
Yeah, Iceman, right.
Yeah.
What was that actor's name? No, not Vin Diesel.
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. I knew it was a V word.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Can you tell me how many different reasons you can think of why someone might want to plant a turnip patch?
Plant a turnip patch? I mean, they want to grow turnips to eat them. They want to grow them to sell them. Maybe it does something in the soil that like restores it, or they can gardening. You can plant some plants next to others because they are beneficiary to each other. Whether it is to like within the soil, one type of vegetable will break down or take some nutrients of one type, and like leave others, where the other will take what the other one left behind and give the other one what it needs, so they can be very symbiotic. Also, there's some plants that are more susceptible to like bugs, and if you plant, like, for example, like onions, certain types of onions, it'll kind of keep those pests away.
All right, that's good. That's plenty of reasons. Can you break down the task of getting a haircut into exactly 5 steps?
Um, uh, Sit down on the chair. You
Excuse me.
get the apron thing on. Let's see. They cut. I'm gonna go off of my haircuts. They cut the buzz the back. You know, the one layer. They cut the top, and then they blend it.
Okay, cool. That's 5 steps. Are you
Yep.
not allowed to have a beard in the military?
You can, if you get a no shave chit. You have to go to medical, and they have to determine that your shaving is causing health concern. Usually, it's bumps.
So in other words, black people don't have to shave.
That's usually who it goes to. Yeah, there are in it, but yeah, typically.
Wait, now I remember back in the Civil War, all of our military people had big ass beards. When did that change?
It's because of biological weapons. You have to be able to get a face fitting mask
Oh,
to make that you're not gonna die, because
1 second.
people are expensive.
Yeah, I'm with a client. Thank you.
Okay, just 20 seconds. I got the chair
Oh, you did?
and I wanted to take it out and look at it.
Okay, I'll be done in about 45 minutes.
Okay.
All right, thanks. I told my dad about this kind of pimped out wheelchair I saw yesterday at an estate sale, and even though my mom already has a wheelchair that's functional, it's not really as nice as this one that was at the estate sale. Well, he went and freaking bought it, of course. So.
Oh yeah, you're in Naval.
Yeah, I'm in LA.
Yeah, a lot of weird pimped out wheelchairs out down there.
It had like all the accessories, like the extra cushions, the extra
Oh,
feet things, like it had everything.
hell
So
yeah.
anyway, he wants me to go out there and look at it, but basically, so I will do that after this typing session. Okay, so can you talk to me about your own relationship with task completion? Something that's fairly straightforward for you? Something that are you a procrastinator?
Yeah, I'm definitely a procrastinator. One sec. Actually, I have an example of what I'm doing now to get things done. I'm gonna go sit in my truck because it's fucking cold out. So yeah, I'm generally a procrastinator. I'm very busy at work. I have too many things to do. I'm kind of in a very unique situation. So what I do, I'm actually not fixing jets right now. I'm actually at the schoolhouse, and I teach the course to actually what I do.
Okay,
Let's see.
you cut out there for a second, but now your audio is back, but it sounds different.
Yeah, I'm it's my Bluetooth in my truck.
That's fine.
Um,
Sounds fine either way.
Okay. So yeah, I'm generally a procrastinator, especially like stuff around the house. If it's really important, I'll jump to it and get it knocked out as soon as I can. Um,
What's your
but
relationship with surfaces around the house? Do they tend to accumulate lots of little things?
I try not to in my room, like my man cave. Um, I would because it's like my area. And I just like to um, like I'll pick it up. It'll be all nice. Everything's in its place, and then I kind of go about my life, and then it accumulates things everywhere, and um, I'll eventually I'll get frustrated with it all and put it all away. But in the house in general, I like to keep it clean. Like we have the island, and it would get like crap all over it, and I'm just like, I just want to get all this out of here. I hate when things are like cluttered, and like the sink builds up with dishes. Um, I try to keep up with that kind of stuff because I don't know. Once if I can get the house like looking decent, even if it's not spotless, at least decent, then it's easier to relax.
What do you think about the idea of keeping a trash can in the middle of the room so you can always throw things towards it wherever you are?
No,
No?
no.
Too
I mean,
ugly? Or what?
just in the way, the kids would run into it, the dogs would run into it and knock it over, and it would just be a nightmare.
Okay. How many
Because the
hours
dogs, they're running around everywhere. So
how many
yeah.
hours of sleep do you think you need a night?
Um, need is interesting. So up until really a few months ago, for about I'd say for about 8 years, I was running on 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night. And it was so I got diagnosed with like anxiety, depression, and then more recently ADHD. And
Hooray!
yeah. So I'm going to, you know, therapy and talking about that stuff and got medication for all that. But yeah, I was um yeah, 4 to 6 hours was pretty typical. Now I'm trying to get that solid 8, which is why I woke up so late because yesterday I went to bed at like about 2 this morning. So what do I need? You know,
Were,
I can
were you out on the
I
town
can,
or were you on your computer?
no, I was finishing up getting the RV.
Oh, right.
I
You
was
told me. Yeah.
trying to unpack everything and trying to find a place to stay because I don't my lock is kind of acting weird. So I was out in town. I was like, I don't want to be out in town, so I went on base where I won't get jumped by some crackhead.
On an island? You have crackheads on an island off Washington State?
Yeah, because there's a free transportation. There's public transportation, and they all get sent up. Like they come up here from Seattle.
Ah, Jesus.
Yeah,
It's all
Seattle's a nightmare.
it's all up and down the West Coast, you know.
Yeah, it's not as bad as like San Fran or
San Francisco's the worst. The absolute
yeah,
worst.
yeah, but it's getting close. It's bigger. It's so like Portland's bad, but it's not as big as Seattle. Seattle's pretty bad, and the underpass, and you just see like camp cities everywhere.
Yeah, it fucking sucks ass.
Yep.
Um, okay. So that's depressing. Okay, can you tell me
Yeah.
what the feeling of sadness feels like in your body?
The physical feeling. Um, what it feels like in my body.
What a great answer.
Not
Uh,
really.
what about anger? Is that easier to describe how that feels in your body?
Yeah. Um, I can feel like I don't know my like back tenses up, and I don't know. I kind of like I'm leaning forward more, and I can feel your adrenaline going, and I get very like hyper focused.
Okay.
Um,
Are you a natural stretcher, a willful stretcher, or neither? A natural stretcher is somebody who gets into bed and goes, "Oh yeah, it feels good to get into bed." A willful stretcher is somebody like gets up in the morning and like maybe touches their toes.
no, natural.
Okay. Do you
I think
find
it's weird. Why would I wake up and like touch my toes? That's weird. I'm not Winnie the Pooh.
What a great
Yeah,
reference. That's fantastic.
yeah. Up, down. You know,
Um,
in
well,
the mood for
some
food.
some people don't stretch naturally. Do you find yawns contagious?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, did I just unplug this?
I still hear you.
Okay, good. I didn't. All right. Have you heard me ask the question about the lady who goes to the bowling alley with her peacock?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you the first half of the story, and then I want you to tell me the second half of the story, how it ends, okay? The
All
first,
right.
the first half of the story goes like this. A lady goes into a bowling alley with a peacock on a leash, and she says, goes up to the counter and says, "I'd like to rent lane 5, please, and I'd like to rent a pair of shoes for myself and a pair of shoes for my peacock." And the guy behind the counter says, "Actually, we don't allow peacocks in here." And she says, "Well, this peacock is my service animal." And so he
Mm-hmm.
goes, "Well, okay, fine, but we still don't have any shoes for peacocks." And she says, "You're discriminating against me. Let me talk to your manager." And now you finish the story.
Just let me talk to your manager. Really, I can get my manager, but he's gonna tell you the same thing. We don't have shoes for peacocks. Peacocks. There's no manufacturer that makes peacock shoes that I'm aware of, and even if there is, we don't buy them from them. If you want the peacock to be able to go down on the floor area, we can get like, I don't know, some, rags or towels, and like we can tie them around its feet if that's what you want. But we don't have shoes for peacocks.
So you're more putting yourself in the role of the clerk guy than you are finishing the story, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. It's funny how people give such totally different answers to that. You know, you get an FE person who's FE near the top, and they will bend over backwards to, it's like the contempt is obvious in your voice when you're talking to this lady. We don't. There is no such thing as peacock bowling shoes.
Yeah, like, yeah. It's just such an absurd request. Like, okay, it's your service animal, whatever. Like, I'm not gonna judge. I don't know why you pick a peacock. I don't know what that does for you personally. I get what dogs do because dogs are awesome, and like, I don't know. I think it's some evolutionary thing that we bred them for a purpose and for something that they can offer us. I love dogs. I grew up with them, and they really do something different for you. Like a household with dogs and a household without dogs are very different. There's just something about it. I don't know. It's like it gives more life to the environment. So I get that, but peacocks, like, what the fuck? I've only seen peacocks like in my backyards, and like, because randomly, it's one of those weird animals. It's like, how the fuck is this from North America? Like,
It's
these
not.
things are, well, they're not, but they're fucking wild and everywhere.
Yeah.
But like randomly, but they'll like appear in people's backyards, and then we're like, you wake up in the morning and you're drinking your coffee, and you're like, is that a big ass chicken? That's a fucking peacock. Why the fuck is there a peacock in my backyard? And you go out there, and then they'll fucking like weirdly fly away over your fence and then disappear. Like, okay,
Yeah, well, we got
that
one that comes back here every day for cat food. So his name is
yeah,
Peter. Yeah.
Peter, Peter Peacock.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. So, um, let me let me see if I can nail down what I'm where I'm heading with some TI tests here.
Okay.
You've heard me ask the TI questions before, I assume, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if all peacocks fly, and some
Hmm.
things that fly, like hot dogs, is it necessarily the case that some peacocks like hot dogs?
Not necessarily.
Okay. If only people who live on islands are named Gilligan, and you live on an island, are you necessarily named Gilligan?
Not necessarily.
If all people who live on islands are named Steve, and you live on an island, are you necessarily named Steve?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what yesterday's tomorrow is?
Yesterday's tomorrow. Yesterday's tomorrow. Today.
Right. How about who is my mother's husband's only daughter's brother's mother in relation to me?
My mother. Say it again. My mother's brother.
My mother's husband's only daughter's only brother's mother.
Your mom.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Well, your TI certainly is sharp. Have you heard me ask the troll question before?
Yeah. I always had one answer.
What's your answer?
Kill the troll.
That's great. That seems like a reasonable thing to say, doesn't it?
That was my first thing. I was like, just fucking kill the troll. And like, I liked your answer was like move everyone, but like, I think like killing the troll is just you gotta move a lot less. It'd probably take a lot less time. I don't know. Just fucking.
You gotta have
shoot
a
it.
little. You gotta have a little bit of a military commander's mind. It's strange how sometimes literally, their response to it is, "Well, I guess nothing we can do."
Yeah, it's bizarre. I watch people. They try so hard. There was that one guy that was like trying to cut a deal with it. Like, oh, maybe he will protect us.
I know, right?
I was just like, what? He's a fucking troll. Like, maybe he's nice.
If you tell people it's a troll
10% of your
tax,
people are gonna die.
if you tell people it's a troll tax, they operate
Yeah.
under the assumption that he must be providing some useful service.
Yeah, troll tax. No, he's just fucking taking your shit.
I know, right?
Yeah. I love that question. Yeah. All the workarounds. Just fucking kill the troll. He's an asshole. He's trying to kill your people. 10% of your people.
Okay, so I mean, you're pretty textbook in terms of your type. You've seen since the beginning, and you've tested out so far consistent with ESTP.
Oh, really?
Did you come in thinking you're ENTP?
No, so this is not the first typing. This is actually my third one this week.
Okay.
Yeah, so Joyce Meng,
Mm-hmm.
I did typing with her. She asked me what I thought, and I was like, INTJ, ENTP, and then like INTP. I'm like staunchly like I guess individualistic, but it's like I like my freedom. So I was like, oh, maybe that's INFP, but they have like TI polar, I think, so that wouldn't make sense. ISTP, kind of, but I think my FE is too good for that. ENTP, I thought, but I'm more SE Dom than any Dom. My NE's okay, I guess, but not okay. It's all right. And then INTJ, because of the NI, I definitely recognize it, but she said basically she agreed with you. Yeah, ESTP.
May I just say, sorry, Joyce Mang. Apparently, I made Joyce Mang cry. In case you end up publishing, I just want to say, sorry, Joyce Mang. I'm sorry, I was so mean.
Oh.
I was mad at her one day after I typed a couple of people who told me things she said that I thought were garbage, and then
Okay.
I made a mean video saying how people need to stop spewing nonsense. But she and I agree about you. What about the other typologist? Did they agree as well?
They haven't gotten back to me. They did the typing session. It was through Personality Hacker as well, and they did the assessment, and I'm waiting to hear back from her. We're doing a follow-up appointment next week about it. But she, I think my answers threw her off. Where it seems like you and Joyce kind of got me real quick, and there wasn't even an option because ESTP the stereotypes are like the jock and stuff, and I'm like I'm not athletic. I'm very there's things I can do, like if I just decide to, I can generally I can do it, but like I'm not inclined to be athletic.
I mean, you seem so FI polar too. When I ask you what a sadness feels like in the body, that response is a typical response for like not really getting FI very much.
Yeah, but isn't FI? It also determines like value judgments, and I can definitely give you value judgments. Like what like there's one.
That's not what it does. That's not what it does.
Okay.
These are the kind of value judgments it determines. So like right now, I'm having to take care of Rachel some. She's experiencing some medical stuff. And then I also need to spend time with my dad because that's part of my duty as a good son and stuff as well, right? So balancing respective importances, subjective importances, that's what FI decides.
Okay.
TI decides what is universally ought to be applicable. Like, this is bullshit, that's not bullshit. That's TI.
Like good songs. I know you've asked that.
That's NI.
Oh, okay.
That's NI. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
The ESTPs will often tell me, and I have good reason to generally agree with them, that their NI, when it comes to aesthetics anyway, is better than fourth slot. Which is to say, ESTPs will consistently identify with having good intuition, whether I agree with them or not. Okay.
Yeah.
But I will also say this: the best drummer I've ever played with was an ESTP drummer whose intuition about exactly the right beat for what I was playing every time was spot on the fucking money. So in that regard, oh, you're a drummer too. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that
I'm
regard,
really good at that. I can tell like when the build up and when the tension needs to happen because I can kind of feel it, and then I know exactly how to like make that dynamic transition or like do a breakdown or like do a drum fill to match that, like because you can feel the tension in the music.
Yeah.
And then like this is when you need to do it.
So that's what you would call exercising NI as a subject, right? That's a perfect example of an SE Dom's relationship with NI. You're using it to do shit, to intuit, right? To do shit.
Yeah.
And it's and that's when it's maximally in its real-time capacity is a drummer figuring out what the right beat to go underneath this song this guy's playing is. And that drummer I played with was just absolutely amazing. I never had to say anything to him about what to do. Everybody else I had to say what to do,
Yeah.
So
I can usually tell like where you're going with it. I'm like, okay, generally I know where is this going, and like how we want it to feel, and then I can just put it together.
And it's a weird thing with NI ignoring because it's taken me many years to develop some sense of what the beat should be for something. Harder than any other element in the song for me to figure out what it should be. Yeah. Like, I can figure out what the bass should be much more easily than when I can figure out what the beat should be. It takes me a long time listening to it, and then eventually it'll sort of come to me. So I think that's an interesting contrast to NI4 conscious with an action type, NI5 unconscious with an action type. Yeah, it's less reliable for me. I can't push on it and expect it to be there.
Yeah, if I'm listening to music and like when I listen to music, I'm listening to the music. I kind of see the vocals as like another instrument. And if like I don't really care what they're saying. I'll care if I really like the music, then I'll start listening to the lyrics. Then it's like worth it. Um,
That's a commonality there because I'm the same way. In fact, for
yeah,
uh, just yesterday, I was talking to Rachel about that song I really like, and I said the lyrics wrong. I said, you know that song that we recently rediscovered and listened to a couple times, "Don't Let Me Down." She's like, "What are you
yeah.
talking about?" And what I was really talking about is "Don't Bring Me Down," which is a
Oh,
totally
okay.
different meaning. You know that ELO
But
song?
yeah.
Don't bring me down. I like that song.
Oh
It's
yeah,
a
yeah,
good song,
yeah,
you know? You would never
yeah.
expect it to be by Electric Light Orchestra.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Don't bring me down. Bow, no, 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 no.
I think I know what you're talking about. I figured it.
Don't bring me down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Don't bring me down. It's a
Yeah.
great song. Anyway, I didn't even remember what the lyrics were because I'm like you. I don't really care about the lyrics because
Yeah.
they aren't really part of the intuitive package of a song ultimately.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Um.
Except insofar as they
Yeah. I think.
define the rhythm of the vocals, you know.
Yeah. Like even there's this band, Sigur. They're Icelandic and they're kind of like a softer kind of music. I guess I don't know what they're called, like indie or something. But I love to listen to it because I can't understand a word they're saying, but I kind of develop my own meaning from it because of how it sounds.
That's cool.
Um, yeah, and then like I mean it's the same thing with when I'm listening to uh like my favorite band is Tool.
Okay,
You know them?
I'm
Yeah.
familiar. It seems
Shit.
to be
Yeah.
very popular with STPs.
Yeah, so they're awesome. And what they're so good at is building like anticipation and tension. And they know exactly like they can they're so good at it. Not only do they know when to like really finally like drop and like go into that like really climactic buildup, but they know how to trick you into thinking they're going that way and um further increase the tension or like half release the tension and then continue to build up. Like they're just masters at it, and their songs are like some of them are just like 5 minutes long, but they can go up to like 15 minutes long, and it doesn't sound like it doesn't feel like it's that long because they're taking you through such a journey of like building up and releasing that tension that it's just a very experiential, cool song. Like I've been listening to them since I was 11. So 20 years now, and they're still my favorite band because they're so good at that stuff.
You and Genexial. Zennial, I mean. You know him?
What is it? No?
He's an ISTP YouTuber. He's got a beard, looks kind of like mine, except it's more pointy. And
Okay.
he sometimes does like gaming things. Sometimes he'll make short MBTI videos. Anyway, his name's Zennial, but it's spelled Xenni,
Okay.
like Gen Xennial. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
he's a big Tool fan. He's got a number of like videos up about why Tool is so great and stuff like that.
I'll have to check them out then.
Yeah, he's a big Tool fan as
Because,
well.
yeah, that's a cool little crossover because, um, I love like I don't know, there's a lot of like things I'm into, but there's very rarely any crossover between any of those interests I have. So that's cool. Genzennial, I'll check them out.
If you give me 1 second, I'd like to refill my cup of coffee.
All right. You narrowed my type down pretty quickly.
I'm sorry.
What was?
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I just put my headphones back on. I couldn't hear what you said.
yeah, no. You narrowed my type down pretty quick. Like, what was it?
Well, I mean, it's a combination of TI is obviously 1-2. FI seems polar. FE better than fourth. SE clearly is an absolute value, especially in a number of different ways. The way that you put yourself in the place of the main character, rather than actually finishing the story, is very very NE eighth.
NE eighth. Okay. Why? Because instead of abstract, like keeping it like I guess third person, I put myself first.
Well, yeah, it's an absolute value of SI. So in order to tell the story, you position yourself in the experience of one of the characters.
Okay. Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
But
yeah, you talk about like absolute. I don't. What is that referring to?
well, so that means like what's an end in itself? For you, it's doing shit and your built up library of stories of shit you've done. Okay. It's those two things are absolute values. And in the third and seventh slot, FE, that is to say, managing others' perceptions of you. Either it's some combination of competence and warmth. You want people to respect you and like you, and that'll go like this and that back and forth over the course of your life as to which one you want more of, depending on the circumstances and various things like that. But it's some combination of those two. That's an absolute value. And then the last absolute value actually is introverted feeling, the thing that we're blind at. So it's...
I like how you put it. It's the your retarded child that you only let out because if you don't, it'll get like hit by a car.
Right, yeah, I like that.
The way you put that, it's just like, that's fucking awesome. That's perfect. Your retarded child.
So, it's like, and we each of us has our own ways of dealing with our polar. Ultimately, my way of dealing with it has been to be really transparent and open and vulnerable on the internet in front of everybody, to thereby, I guess, disarm the FI in some sense.
Yeah. So I can think of actually how I do that. Mental health is a really big problem in the country in general. On top of that, in the military, it especially is, especially in this area, the Pacific Northwest. On top of that, we have the pandemic, and the suicide rate is pretty bad. I know a couple people in the Navy who have done it, and they weren't always younger guys. Some of them were older, higher rank guys, and so it is a concern for sure. And the typical way the military, or at least the Navy, really wants us to approach that is they call it intrusive leadership. And that's really like kind of getting into people's business, and figuring out what they're doing, checking up on them. And that's fine. There's a point where it's just like, when people do that to me, I don't like people trying to get into my business. And I'm just like, fuck off. It's my life. I'm gonna do what I need to do. So, I'm very oppositional and defiant in that sense. Like, it's my life. I'm gonna live.
You protect your FI in a little.
Yeah. So but the thing is, I still need to know what's going on with my guys, and I found it effective and more effective in that I will tell people like, hey, I go to behavioral health. I'm diagnosed with these things. I was afraid of like repercussions for, getting that mental health. But, this is what I'm doing. I'm on medication. I, talk to therapists, and, I know the whole process of going through that. And, it's tough, but it's, ultimately it's paid off. And because I'm honest about that and open about it, about like pretty personal stuff, I don't overshare. I don't want to dump my problems on people, but I let them know like I am getting help, and because of that, people have been much more open to coming to me and be like, hey, I have this problem, and I want to get help. So
You should open with this. You should open with, Boy, is my anus itchy this morning.
I will tell like weird, stupid stories just to like get a rise out of people, or I'll just like overshare. Like I'll be like, you know, my fucking kids did this shit. Like I swear to God, I'm gonna fucking sell them. And I see people like get all like wide eyed, like what the fuck? But yeah, it's fun.
Okay,
I
well,
like what I do.
cool. So I guess I'll stop this recording now. Do you want me to
Oh.
share it with you privately, or I know we got time left, but it seems like a good time to stop recording. Do you want me to share it with you privately, or do you want me to publish it, or what?
Let me share it to me privately, and then I'll see.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to publishing it. I just want to make sure I didn't like shit talk the Navy or say anything too inappropriate.
Yeah, no problem. Sure. I will stop this and share it with you privately.